Today we're making a slash wall. All it is a big pile of brush. We're putting it around our nursery beds to keep them safe from the deer. The idea is that deer have really bad depth perception, and this big nasty pile of sticks is really confusing for them. So even though parts of it aren't 8 feet tall, the deer still don't want to jump over. So it's a great barrier, but I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is a lot of work. So let's get to it.
Once you get your tree down, it's just a matter of breaking it up into manageable sizes. You want nice big chunks for a slash wall, and then it's a bit of a balancing act to get it to work. I found that lining them all up the same direction with the branches aiming the same way was helpful to get them to kind of stand upright.
So that ash was great because we got some firewood out of it. But honestly, this is what you're looking for. These old pines that lost the race. These are perfect. They're like nice and light, take up a lot of space, keep themselves standing up with all these branches. That's ideal slash. Pardon me, those were cedars. Now that I've cut them open, I can see look at that red sawdust. We have a lot of dead trees here on the farm. The hedgerows were planted with ash, and the forests were planted in big pine stands that grew all way too close together, and now they're 30 years old and due for a thinning, and nature's doing the thinning for us, and they're falling over left, right, and center. And so we know they're good habitat for birds and bugs. We don't want to take them all down. We like to have some of them. Unfortunately, most of them aren't bigger than this, so they're not providing too good habitat for our bigger friends like our owls and whatnot, but they are still good. So we have designated some trails in the woods, and we'll try to stay on them. And around those trails, that's where we'll clean up some of the dead wood. And brush is always a pain to deal with, so we got to come up with a solution where to put it. And we've got the perfect spot. We just put in the last video those new, really inexpensive nursery beds for our blueberries. And we think a new, really inexpensive herbivore-proof barrier around them will be ideal. So winter's a really good time to do forestry work like this. With the frozen ground, you're not as likely to make a big muddy mess. You won't be interrupting anyone's nesting season, which is great. We always want to look after our wildlife. If you are doing some more like trimming work on your fruit and nut trees, if you happen to do a big trim in the late summer or early fall, you might end up getting a late fall regrowth, which can really tax your tree and use up a lot of its resources that it needs for the winter. Alright, snow's really coming down, so I better get going before I get stuck here. But here we've got the slash walls tied into the existing hedge, make use of that natural barrier. And I got it most of the way, as far as we need to go out that way. But you can see behind me the space we're working with. Over my shoulder is another one of those leaf beds that we made last video. In between that and me is the nursery beds that Kev was planting in the fall planting video. And then over my shoulder now is some air prune beds that are sitting up on the biggest of the ash branches. Make use of those. The rest of that ash log will get burnt to turn some sap into syrup in the spring. So if you want to stick around for that video, hit that subscribe button. We're always working on something here. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Here's the area I've been working in, pulling out brush. There's that ash stump from a big ash tree that came down. And as you can see, it is still a mess in here. Everything you see laying over, I did not cut it. That went down in the big winds this summer. This is a planted pine plantation, and you get some big winds and anyone who's been struggling comes down. And there's some big fellas up there that have got to come down if we're gonna be walking back here. We'll leave a lot of the dead guys, but like I said earlier, we have a lot of dead trees. Lots of work to do in here.